Imagine a time of turmoil and change, a period where the very fabric of society is being woven anew. It is the 9th century, and the Catholic Church holds immense power, influencing every aspect of life from the highest kings to the humblest peasants. Now picture this: a woman driven by ambition and intellect disguises herself as a man and rises through the ranks of the Church. She becomes Pope, the highest position imaginable, a role of immense spiritual and political power. This is the story of Pope Joan, a legend that has captivated and scandalized for centuries, challenging the very core of medieval beliefs. Could a woman truly have achieved such a feat in a time when women were relegated to the shadows, their roles confined to the domestic sphere? The story of Pope Joan tells of a brilliant and ambitious woman who dared to break free from society's constraints, defying the norms of her time. Disguised as a man, she embarks on an extraordinary journey within the Church, her true identity a closely guarded secret, known only to a trusted few. The legend of Pope Joan is a tale of ambition, secrecy, and ultimately, a dramatic fall from grace, a story that has been whispered through the ages. It is a story that has resonated through the ages, sparking debate and challenging traditional views of gender and power, making us question the very nature of history. But is it fact or fiction? Could such an extraordinary tale be true, or is it merely a myth? Let's delve into the captivating world of Pope Joan and separate truth from legend, exploring the evidence and the myths that have surrounded her story. For centuries, people have been both horrified and inspired by the story of Pope Joan, a tale that continues to intrigue and mystify. Was she a real person or simply a figment of imagination, a creation of medieval minds? Join us as we unravel the mystery of Pope Joan, a story that blurs the lines between history and legend. The story of Pope Joan centers on a young woman of exceptional intelligence. Born in Ingelheim, Germany in the early 9th century, she yearned for knowledge in a time when education was largely denied to women. Her father, a monk, recognized her thirst for learning and secretly nurtured her intellect. But tragedy struck, and Joan found herself orphaned and alone. Faced with the limited options available to women in her time, she made a daring decision. Disguising herself as a young man, she adopted the name Johannes Anglicus and set out into the world. Joan's disguise opened doors that would have otherwise remained closed. She traveled to centers of learning, immersing herself in theological debates and philosophical discussions. Her sharp mind and eloquence earned her respect and admiration, propelling her through the ranks of the Church. As Johannes Anglicus, Joan's reputation for piety and wisdom grew. She rose through the ranks of the Church, becoming a cardinal and eventually, to the astonishment of those who knew her true identity, the Pope. Yet, at the height of her power, danger lurked in the form of love. The Pope, still disguised as Johannes, found herself drawn to a young cleric. Their shared intellectual pursuits blossomed into a passionate love affair, a secret that could shatter everything Joan had carefully built. Unaware of the Pope's true identity, the cleric remained oblivious to the perilous nature of their love. Meanwhile, rumors of the Pope's unusual closeness to the young cleric began to circulate. Whispers of scandal and impropriety reached the ears of those who suspected the truth. Joan's carefully constructed world threatened to crumble around her. The legend of Pope Joan reaches its climax during a religious procession through the streets of Rome. As the Pope, still disguised as Johannes, rode through the cheering crowds, a sudden and unexpected event occurred. Joan went into labor. The crowd watched in horror and disbelief as the truth was revealed. The Pope, their spiritual leader, was a woman. The shock and confusion quickly gave way to outrage and anger. Joan's carefully guarded secret had been exposed in the most dramatic and public way imaginable. Some accounts of the legend claim that Joan died in childbirth, trampled by the angry mob. Others say she was imprisoned or exiled, her fate a tragic reminder of the price of deception. Whatever the outcome, the legend of Pope Joan serves as a stark warning about the dangers of challenging societal norms and the consequences of living a lie. Whispers through the centuries. Despite its shocking and scandalous nature, the story of Pope Joan was not immediately dismissed as heresy or fabrication. Instead, it found a peculiar place in the annals of history, intriguing scholars and laypeople alike. In fact, for centuries after the alleged events, the story circulated widely, whispered in hushed tones and recorded in various texts. The tale of a woman who ascended to the papacy was both a cautionary tale and a source of fascination. One of the earliest written accounts of Pope Joan appears in the Chronicle of Jean de Mailly, a French Dominican friar writing in the 13th century. His account was one of the first to bring the story to a wider audience. He describes Joan as a woman of English descent who reigned as pope for a little over 2 years before her secret was revealed. This revelation, according to the Chronicle, led to a dramatic and tragic end. Another account, penned by Martin of Opava, a Polish chronicler in the same century, provides a more detailed and dramatic version of the story. Martin's narrative added layers of intrigue and drama, capturing the imagination of his readers. He describes Joan's rise through the church, her love affair, and her shocking downfall during the procession. This version of the story emphasized the human elements of ambition, love, and betrayal. These early accounts, along with others, helped solidify the legend of Pope Joan in the public imagination. The story continued to be told and retold, each version adding new details and interpretations, ensuring that the legend endured through the centuries. The legend of Pope Joan gained even greater traction during the Protestant Reformation in the 16th century. Reformers eager to discredit the Catholic Church seized upon the story as evidence of papal corruption and decadence. They used Joan's tale to criticize the Church's claim to papal infallibility and to highlight the perceived excesses and hypocrisy within the institution. Anti-Catholic pamphlets and tracts circulated widely, often featuring lurid illustrations of Pope Joan's exposure and downfall. The story became a powerful propaganda tool, fueling anti-Catholic sentiment and bolstering the arguments of those seeking to break away from Rome's authority. Ironically, the very act of using Joan's story to attack the Church helped ensure its continued survival. By keeping the legend alive, even for polemical purposes, the Reformers inadvertently contributed to the enduring fascination with Pope Joan. Despite its enduring popularity, the story of Pope Joan has been largely debunked by modern historians. The tale, which has fascinated people for centuries, tells of a woman who disguised herself as a man and rose to the highest office in the Catholic Church. Extensive research into papal records and contemporary chronicles has failed to unearth any evidence to support Joan's existence. Scholars have meticulously combed through documents from the period, hoping to find even a hint of her story. The lack of contemporary sources is particularly damning. If such a significant event had occurred, it would have surely been noted by the chroniclers of the time. Given the magnitude of the alleged events, it seems inconceivable that such a scandal would not have been documented by chroniclers living at the time. The absence of any mention in the writings of those who meticulously recorded the history of the Church is telling. Yet there is no mention of a female pope in any official papal records, nor in the writings of any contemporary historians. The silence of these sources speaks volumes. Furthermore, there are significant chronological inconsistencies in the various accounts of Joan's papacy. Different versions of the story place her reign in different centuries, making it difficult to pinpoint any factual basis. The dates provided for her reign do not align with the established timelines of popes during that period. This further undermines the credibility of the story. These discrepancies, along with the lack of concrete evidence, have led historians to conclude that Pope Joan is a fictional character, a product of legend and folklore rather than historical fact. The story, while captivating, remains a myth rather than a chapter in the annals of history. Despite the lack of historical evidence, the legend of Pope Joan continues to captivate and intrigue. Why has this story endured for so long, even after being exposed as a myth? The answer lies in its powerful symbolism and its ability to resonate with people across cultures and time periods. On one level, the story of Pope Joan can be seen as a cautionary tale about the dangers of ambition and the consequences of deceit. Joan's desire for knowledge and power ultimately leads to her downfall, serving as a reminder that even the most carefully constructed facades can crumble. However, the legend also holds a more empowering message, particularly for women. Joan's intelligence, ambition, and ability to break free from societal constraints continue to inspire, even if her story is ultimately a work of fiction. In many ways, the legend of Pope Joan transcends its historical limitations. Whether or not she actually existed, Joan has become a powerful symbol of female strength, intelligence, and resilience. Her story has resonated with women throughout history who have faced discrimination, prejudice, and limited opportunities. In literature, film, and art, Pope Joan continues to be a source of inspiration, her legend reimagined and reinterpreted for contemporary audiences. She serves as a reminder that women have always possessed the intellect, ambition, and capability to achieve great things, even in the face of overwhelming obstacles. While the historical accuracy of Pope Joan's existence may be debated, her impact on culture and the enduring power of her story remain undeniable. She stands as a testament to the human desire for equality, knowledge, and the freedom to pursue one's dreams, regardless of gender or societal constraints.